For being here. We know the movie Magic Mike. This would be MAGA Mike. That's what everybody's calling him. What's your reaction to the fact that this has finally gotten done? Because the liberal media needs some smelling salts, I think, at this point.
Yeah, they don't know what to do. They tried to wreck it at the very end, the lobbyists and everybody else. I mean, if you can't see the hand of God in this, then you're just not looking. Last Saturday, my wife and I were sitting out on our screened-in porch there at the farm, and she was talking to me. Said, "How do you think this thing's going to go?" And I said, "Well, honey," I said, "the first couple are probably going to get killed off." And I said, "But if we could get somebody like a Mike Johnson in there, he could help turn this country around." And
wow.
And I sent him a text right then and told him that I was one of the hated eight. I said I wished I wasn't. At that point, because I could have worked for him. I've been a little more out there because I was incredibly hated in the caucus and in the wealthy circles, I guess. And that very picture you're seeing right there, he had asked me to pray right before then, and we had before the press came in, and I did in fact pray. And honestly, he is a sincere man of God. He's not one of these bumper sticker Christians. And I wish my mama and daddy were alive to see what we just did, because they would both be very proud of their baby boy and what we were able to, and the eight of us really were able to pull off. We're not, my buddy Matt Gaetz and the rest of us, I told him, we always sit on the second row to the back. I call it Center's Row. And because generally when folks are having a little tough time, they come sit with me. And I talked to them about what's important in life, and mostly about Jesus and other things, and so it's really cool. It's really cool that God used 8 reprobates, I guess you'd say, because we're all broken, as you know. Everybody is, I reckon.
Yeah.
But in this miserable town, but to have somebody like a Mike Johnson, I mean, man, I can't tell you. I just
Well, we thank you so much for your stand. And I, in particular, know it's not easy. I watched my husband stand like that. He was ultimately ranked the most conservative in the decade after he was termed out of the Senate in Missouri. So I really do understand that stand. And he had a poster on his wall that somebody had given him that said, doing what is easy is not usually right. Doing what is right is not usually easy. And I think that quote stuck in his mind a million times when it just would have been easy to go along and get along, but you let that door crack a little bit, he always told me, and it's going to get a foot in it and it's going to go wide open. So I really do. I just want to say I appreciate your stand. I appreciate the Brave Eight, as we called them here on this program. But I have to tell you, my concern, if I'm completely honest, and I think I speak for a lot of people in MAGA, my concern is, how was this so consistent throughout the GOP? Because there are a lot of anti-MAGA, turncoaty kind of people. Why did they support this speaker?
They didn't have any choice, ma'am. I'll give you, if you give me 1 minute, I'll give you the quick rundown.
Yeah.
As you know, we went through several groups of people, and we had some really excellent people in that group. And towards the end, the former speaker actually, you saw what happened to Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise and Tom Emmert. And all that was because of the former speaker and some of his folks had really backdoored all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Got them in there and then killed them off. And that's just politics, okay? So a motion was made to have a voice vote, of number 2, which was Mike Johnson, behind Tom Emmert. And they said, and the former speaker basically yelled out, "You can't do that." And then the veil was off. Everybody, and then they tried to do a motion, and then they tried to do a write-in candidacy, and they thought they were going to get 100 votes, and they ended up getting 34 and then 44. And then we said, and then Mike Johnson, or one of the people, made a motion to do a roll call vote, so that was not anonymous. And then you had to, you couldn't do anonymous then. You had to either fish or cut bait. And the former speaker had said he was out of it, but yet his folks were working the crowd, and then they tried to do this duopoly or whatever you want to call it between him and Jordan, which I don't see how that would work at all. It's kind of like, I want to go over to my best friend's house and spend the night, and your mom says, ask your dad, then your dad says, ask your mom.
Yes.
So then it was voted, and then then you had it was unanimous except for I think 2 people had passed, and so that's when we said we got our guy, and then we all said let's do a unity thing, and we all stood behind Mike, and then I said to Mike, why don't we have a prayer before the press comes in, and then he said, would you like to lead it? And I said, well, yeah. And I want to just part of that prayer though, and I know you got to go because I got to go to my bipartisan prayer group up here on the Hill anyway. I'm running late to it, and I'll miss my oatmeal, so I'll be fussy all day.
Oh no!
But my mama used to make me oatmeal. It's more sentimental. But anyway, and I prayed. It was the night that Bill Clinton was winning the White House, and my mom and daddy were incredible Christians. My mama lost a brother fighting the Nazis. She flew an airplane during the Second World War. My daddy fought the Japanese in the Pacific. And there we were the night Bill Clinton was going to be president, having, as I like to call it, a traditional Italian meal. He had a Mr. Getty's pizza right there at my little house at 8220 Bennington Drive. And when I was a little boy growing up, and or a young man, I guess I was a voter. And we worked the polls all day. And I just looked at my dad as we were watching those election results. A battle-hardened combat veteran, a very good Christian man, seeing his country slip away from him by electing somebody like Bill Clinton to the White House. Yeah. And my daddy, in the prayer, he said, Lord, please don't let us lose our country. And I have never forgotten that. And I prayed that.
Very nice.
As part of my prayer with Mike Johnson that night and the rest of our conference. And that's my prayer every day, ma'am.
Yeah, I love that.
Losing our country, and if it's not for folks like you all putting the truth out, we in fact would do that. And please ask people to pray for our country. Don't worry about me. You can pray for my wife and daughter. They're the ones that take.
I get that for sure, Congressman. Thank you so much, and we are praying for you.